Good afternoon. Today we will talk about sampling method and how to use sampling method in gathering your data, especially on architectural applications regarding your research in the subject and also uh, in the thesis presentation and data gathering of your uh, architectural thesis on your fifth year. This is the part of statistics, which basically a method which allows us to get information about the population based on the statistics from a subset of population. It's just a part of a whole. Sampling or a sample is just a part of a whole. So without investigating every individual in the said whole, like for example, a, a population from a barangay. So your sampling size is part of that uh, barangay. The number of people in that barangay. In simpler representation, we have our population which represents by a large circle, and the sample of that or the sampling size of that is just a part of the whole population. So that's basically the uh, how we do or how we get a sample. So basically, sampling method or sample is a process of deriving a sample. So this sample forms is an integral part of a research design, as this kind of method derives in a quantitative data and the qualitative data that can be collected as part of a research study. So it doesn't necessarily you will get all and each and every one's opinion, answers, interviews, etc. for a specific information. You just have to get a specific amount or specific number of respondents coming from a certain population. Like for example, a population of artists in Quezon City. So for you to be able to get the sampling size, you have to reach a number of people in order for you to get um, a substantial percentage of that artisans in that specific area. Okay, so when you conduct the research about a group of people, as I mentioned, example natin is the artist in that certain area, it is rarely possible to collect data from every person or that group. So you cannot get their individual answers. Instead, you select a sample. Yun yung tawag natin sa kanya. That sample is the group of individuals. Hindi rin pwedeng isa o dalawa. It's a collective group who will participate in the research. To draw valid conclusion from your results, you must carefully decide how you will select your sample that is representative of the group. There are two types of sampling methods. Number one is probability. Sampling involves probability. It involves random selection. Okay, allowing you to make strong statistical inferences about the whole group. So that's first method, how you do sampling. And the second one is the non-probability. So this sampling involves non-random selection. So ikaw mismo yung pipili o you choose who are the respondents of what you're trying to get, no, data based on convenience or other criteria allowing you to easily collect your data. So this involves by identifying the defined target population. So you know your target users or your target respondents. Step 2 is select a sampling frame. So you have to select a specific number of people and um, um, filter them into who are the most probable respondents. And number 3, choose sampling method, which is the probability or the non-probability type of sampling method. And step number 4, determine the sampling size. So there's a formula for sampling size now that will be represented to you a little while. Then step 5 is collect the required data that you have or you want to collect based on the certain sampling size that you get from the total number of population. So malalaman mo lang yon if you have your sampling size. So you must have first a reference kung ilan ba talaga yung total population bago mo makuha si total or si sampling size. Kasi meron yung confidence factor ko the higher the percentage of persons that you are gathering the data, the more accurate is it for you to be able to get the correct number of data. So we must first define the two major component, no, the population and sample, the population versus the sample. So the population is the entire group, no, so this is the keyword that you want to draw conclusions about, no, yan yung panggagalingan ng sampling size mo. The sample naman is the specific group of individuals. So this is the key phrase, no, that you will collect the data from. Nakita nyo kanina yung diagram natin. So yun yung kanyang visual representation. So the population can be defined in terms of geographical location. No, pwede siyang by age, by income, and many other characteristics depending on what type of data you are trying to get. So the sampling frame. The sampling frame is the actual list of individuals that the sample will be drawn from. Ideally, it should include the entire target population and nobody who is part of that population. So example natin dyan is you are doing a research on working conditions at company X. The population is all 1,000 employees of the company. Your sampling frame is the company's HR database, which the list of names and contact details every employee. So basically, you have your basic information and reference where to get your target respondents. So that's how you frame, no, your data. Alam mo where should it limit and what is the content of that certain population. Sampling size. For the number of individuals you should include in your sampling depends on various factors including the size, variability of the population, and your research design. So there are different sampling size calculators and formulas depending on what you want to achieve in statistical analysis. So pwede yan, the formulas can be clearly shown to you later on the further discussions. No, pwedeng different type of formula ang gamitin mo on such different populations. we have to discuss probability type sampling method. So this means that every member of the population has the chance of being selected. It is mainly used for quantitative research. So a certain number, no, that's quantitative. If you want to produce results that are representative for the whole population, so the probability sampling technique is the most valid choice, no. So for example, a general public, you have to get an opinion regarding them. So the probability sampling method is the most um, appropriate one, no, you're going to use for that. There are four main types of probability sample, which is number one is simple random sample. So you don't have to choose if it's a male, a female, an adult, a a teenager, no. It's a some random, no, selection of sample. Number two is systematic sample. Number three is stratified sample, and number four is a cluster sample. So we have to discuss each one of that. For the simple random sampling, every member of a population has an equal chance of being selected. So you don't know who will be the representative for a certain population, but it has an equal chance of someone to be selected. So yeah, your sampling frame should include the whole population. So it's a wide range of selection. So conduct this type of sampling, you can use tools like random number generators. If you have the list of your sampling frame, so you could have a random number generator or other techniques that are basically entirely on chance. No? Pwedeng draw lots, pwedeng computer generated selection, uh, a random selector if you want. So you have an example here. If you want to have a simple random sample of 100 employees coming from the company X, no, that we have mentioned earlier, you can assign a number to every employee, no. So yun nga yung pwede nating i-randomize from 1 to 1000 and use number generator to select 100 numbers. So the first 100 that can be seen from the number generator, no, basically he is the one to represent the sampling size, no. For a simple random sampling reduce selection bias, the simple random sampling reduces selection bias kasi nga it's random. So hindi mo mapipili dapat sasagot, no, dun sa yung sampling frame. So it gives more true answers because walang pinipili yung random generator. It's more on randomized. Next is systematic sampling. For this type of sampling method, it's like a simple random sampling, but it's usually slightly easier to conduct. Every member of the population is listed with number, but instead of randomly generating numbers, individuals are chosen at regular intervals. For example, all the employees of the company are listed in alphabetical order. From the first 10 numbers, you randomly select a starting point, like number 6. From number 6 onwards, every 10th person on the list is selected like 6, 16, 26, 36, and so on. And you end up sample of 100 people. So the first number lang is the one that is being randomized. And then after that, you set a variation of what? Okay, you set a steady regular intervals. Yan. Steady and regular intervals. Okay, if you use this technique, it is important to make sure that there's no hidden pattern in the list that you might skew the sample. For example, if the HR database group employees by team and the team members are listed in order of seniority, so there's a risk that your interval might skip over people in junior roles. So it must be general pa rin. No? So resulting that sample is skewed towards senior employment. So this is how you select a selection systematic sampling type of selection. So say our population X, we have to select a sample size of n, then the next individual that we'll select will be X no, interval away from the first individual. We can select the rest in the same way. So the first one that has been selected is number 3. So, nag-add lang siya ng 4, kaya siya naging 7. Add ulit siya ng 4, kaya siya naging 11. Add ng 4 ulit, naging 15. Add ng 4 ulit, naging 19. So, yun yung kanyang interval, 4. For the stratified type of sampling naman, we have to involve dividing the population into subpopulations. Kumbaga, from the sample size natin na kinuha, we have to provide another subpopulation. It may differ in important ways. It also allows you to draw more precise conclusions by ensuring that every subgroup is properly represented in the sample. Kumbaga, meron siyang representative on each group if the selection frame or the sampling frame is itemized by group. So to use the sample method, you divide the population into subgroups. Okay, divide the population into subgroups called strata. Okay, so that's what we call subgroups in stratified sampling. Based on the relevant characteristic like gender, age, range, income bracket, job, role, etc. So based on the overall proportions, the population that you can calculate, many people should be sampled from each subgroup. For example, if the company has 800 female and 200 males, you want to ensure that the sample reflects on the gender balance of the company. So you sort the population into 2 strata because that's the subgroup coming from your sampling frame. Based on the gender, you use random sampling on each group, selecting 80 women and 20 men, which gives you a representative of 100 people. So in this type of sampling, we divide the population into subgroups based on different traits, genders, category, etc. And then we select the samples from this subgroup. So this is how we make it a subgroup. From the general list, we do our sub grouping, which represented by different number of different colors. So in each color, you can notice that the blue has the higher number of population. So from that, we get a certain percentage from the number of colors, which has something to do with red. So we have 1 representative, yellow is 1, green is 1, and for the larger size, we get 2, so that there's a certain percentage that will represent the large population of that certain subgroup. Under cluster sampling naman, we have to involve dividing the population into subgroups. Okay, but each subgroup should have similar characteristic. You have a thing in common if you're going to choose cluster sampling. Instead of sampling individuals from each group, you randomly select entire subgroup. If it's practically impossible, you might include every individual from each sample cluster. If the cluster themselves are large, you can also sample individuals from each cluster using one technique above. It's called multi-staging sampling. So, pwede siya combine, no, the different types of sampling method. So, this type of method is good for dealing with large dispersed population, but is more risk of error in sample. Example natin, if there are the companies have offices in 10 cities across the country. So let's say that all offices have roughly the same number of employees in similar roles. So you don't have the capacity to travel to every office to collect your data. So your sampling to select 3 offices are the following clusters. For the cluster 1, as you can see, the same number of, let's say the number of circles is the representation of number of employees. So we get a sample from office number 1, office number 2, 3, 4, and 5. So each office has their own representative. Okay. So use of probability sampling. So there are multiple usage of probability sampling. Number 1 is to reduce the sample bias. It should be normalized, no, to use a sample bias um, by coming from population that is negligible to non-existent. So the selection of the sample mainly depicts on the understanding of the inference of the researcher. The probability sampling leads to higher quality data collection as the sample appropriately represents the population. Number 2 is the diverse population. So it's because it's more on random. It creates a wider range, no, of representation that will not be biased on certain category like the age, the job position, etc. So the third usage of probability is to create an accurate sample. So this helps the researchers plan and create accurate sample that helps to obtain a well-defined data. For a non-probability sampling method naman, so example natin, there are individuals that selected based on a non-random criteria. So this one is non-random, targeted, and not every individual has a chance of being, not everyone individual has a chance of being included. So this type of sample is easier and cheap to access, but it's higher risk of sampling bias. That means the interferences you make about a population are weaker than with probability samples. Your conclusions may be more limited. Use of non-probability sample should still aim to make it as representative of population as possible. Pwede pa rin siya gamitin as long as it's more targeted on the large scale. So this type of sampling technique is used for exploratory and qualitative type of research because everyone cannot answer on the surveys, the questionnaires, interviews, etc. So in this type of research, the aim is to test a hypothesis on a specific topic about a broad population, but to develop an initial understanding of a small or under-researched population. So we have different types of non-probability sampling techniques. Number 1 is convenience sample. So later we will explain this. Number 2 is purposive sample. Number 3 is snowball sample. And number 4 is quota sample. For the convenience sampling, we have included individuals who happen to be the most accessible to the researcher, who are the most free, no, or madaling bigyan ng research questions, interviewin, etc. So this is an easy and inexpensive way of gathering initial data, but there's no way to tell that sample is representative of the population because they're the one na malapit lang, no, and easy to reach. So it can produce generalized result. For example, we have a researcher opinion about student support service in university. So after each of your classes, you ask your fellow student to complete a survey on the topic. So it's limited only on your classroom. Ayon sa example natin. This is convenient, no, to gather data. But as you survey the students taking the same class as you at the same level, the sample is not representative of all students at your university because it only represents the classroom. So that's how a convenience sampling works. Next is voluntary response sampling. So this is mainly based on ease of access then. Instead of the researcher choosing the participant and directly contacting them, people volunteer themselves, no. So ito yung key phrase nito. So the people volunteer themselves, like responding to a public online survey. So probably you have your assistants, no, for that. And voluntary responses samples are always at least somewhat biased because some people will inherently be more likely to volunteer than others. For example, you send out a survey to all students at university and a lot of students decided to complete it. But this certainly give you some insights into the topic, but the people who responded are more likely to be those who have strong opinions about the student support services. Paano naman yung mga hindi active? So you can't be sure that their opinions are representative of all students. No? So those who are more into the topic, so they are mostly the one that answers your survey. Next is we have purposive sampling. So this is a known as judgment sampling. Involves the researcher using their expertise to select a sample. No? So as the researcher, you use your expertise to select, no, that is most useful to the purpose of research. So this is often used in qualitative research, where the researcher wants to gain detailed knowledge about a specific phenomenon rather than make statistical inference, where the population is very small and specific, like for example, the opinions and experiences of disabled students at your university. So there's a specific target now that you want to have answer your survey questions and interviews. So you have purposely selected few students with different supports and needs to gather varied data on experiences with student services. So that's how a purposive sampling or tinatawag nating judgment sampling tawag. Next is snowball sampling. If the population is hard to access, like you're away from your target respondents, a snowball sampling can be used to record participants via others participants. Kumaga, they have been ladderized coming from your first layer or sino yung naging contact mo doon na first 5, those first 5 will recruit another and then that recruitment will be recruited again by another group of participants. So the number of people you have to success snowballs, no? Kung if you can imagine a snowball, no, running through down a hill, so it's getting bigger and bigger. So that's how you contact with more people. So you're searching experiences of a homelessness in your city. Since there's no list of homeless people in the city, you cannot you cannot there's no way you can select them one by one. But if there are people who are getting information coming from other cities, no? Like for example, probably sampling isn't possible. You meet one person who agrees to participate in a research, and she puts you in contact with other homeless people that knows in the area. So they know better who are the homeless person. So basically, those homeless person will refer another homeless person that will be part of the research, etc. So that's how sampling representation is, sampling method. So the use naman of non-probability sampling is you create a hypothesis, and the researchers use this non-probability sampling method to create an assumption. Assumption when limited to no prior information available. This method helps with the immediate return of data and builds base for future research. Exploratory. So this type of technique widely used when conducting qualitative research, pilot studies, and exploratory research. Budget and time constraint. If the non-probability method used, probably the budget and the time are uh, held back, and some preliminary data must be collected. So since the survey design is not rigid, it's easier to pick respondents at random and have them take the survey or questionnaire. So the difference of between the probability sampling and non-probability sampling method have something to do with uh, the following. So we have the definition for the probability sampling from a large population. Chosen uses a method based on the theory of probability, while the non-probability naman is sampling technique which the researcher selects sample based on the researcher's subjective judgment rather than random selection. No? So they do not rely on random. Known as sampling method and non-sampling method, population selection is randomly, and the selection naman for non-probability is arbitrary. For the nature, the probability the probability sampling method is conclusive, while the non-probability naman is exploratory. For the sample, since there is a method for deciding the sample, the population demographics are conclusively represented, and this one naman is the demographic representation is almost skewed. No, there's a somewhat like skewed data, no, when you are collecting from non-probability sampling method. For the time duration or time taken, so it takes longer to conduct since the research design defines the selection parameters before market research begins, while this one naman is quick since the sampling selection criteria of neither the sample or selection is undefined. The result of this is entirely unbiased. So ito yung maganda, no, sa probability sampling type. It is unbiased. The result is unbiased too and conclusive. So the type of while the non-probability naman is entirely biased and the result are biased too, rendering the research is speculative. While the hypothesis is there's a underlying hypothesis that needs to be proven the hypothesis. In non-probability sampling method, the hypothesis is derived after conducting the research study. So this one, because you already have to speculate now what will be the result. So these are the references of this topic. Thank you so much, and kindly stand by in our Google Meet. Thank you.